I'm Danielle Savre. Yes, like savory. And this is where bold women spill the truth. Moments that impact us, unlikely mentors, and the hilarious memories along the way. Always real. Because life isn't curated. It's layered, it's complicated, it's absolutely delicious. Welcome to Sweet and Savory. Grab a snack and let's get into it. Danielle Piersons, thank you so much for being one of my first guests, aka the trial period of Sweet and Savory podcast, because it has been quite an adventure to get sound and camera and everything going. So thank you for your patience.
My pleasure.
For everyone out there, Danielle Piersons is a anxiety and stress coach. Did I get that right?
You did, yeah.
Anxiety and stress coach, which I need a lot of right now. But our history goes back to when you did my makeup.
Yeah.
So you were a makeup artist. Before that, you were a model. Mm-hmm. Where are you from in this world?
I was born in St. Petersburg, Florida.
And where did you go after Florida?
Well, I moved to New York City when I was 16. I only lived there about a year, though. And at 23, I moved to Southern California.
Did you always know you wanted to be in Southern California?
I kind of had an idea, especially after having been to New York. You know, I always wanted to be a big fashion model or do something in fashion. So went to New York, did some modeling, was wild, crazy.
What was that, though? What is wild and crazy, Danielle? I need to know. Because since I've known you, you're very put together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
So
I know.
What is wild and crazy, Danielle?
It's exactly what you think it would be.
I don't know what I would think it would be.
Yeah, it's
You went clubbing.
It's clubs.
At 16.
At 16.
Which is fine. I mean, I did the same, I guess.
Raves, because that was a big thing in the 90s.
So you're talking like drinking, drugs, New York, 16-year-old, you did it.
I did it.
Do you have any regrets?
You can't regret things that young, right? But just that I didn't love myself. And, you know, I made all of my decisions based on that and the beliefs that I had about myself. So, but you don't know what you don't know, of course, at that time. But yeah, I wish I would have taken better care of little Danielle, but you know, she's here. She's chilling now, so you know.
Yes, she is. You are. I look up to you a lot, especially in that regard. So
thank you.
It's true.
Likewise.
I will say, going back to that, your partying ages at 16. Do you think that was a part of that, like trying to like be cool and peer pressured, or did you really just doing what all other 16-year-olds did at that time in New York City?
Yeah, I mean, I never felt any peer pressure. I mean, if anything, I was ready to go. You know, I wanted to be an adult since the time I was born. You know, my mom always tells me that I was like my own person from go. Even being a kid, I remember being like, what is with this kid stuff? Like, I hate kid stuff. And yeah, in a lot of ways.
Are you an only child?
I am an only child, yeah.
And do you think that maybe was part of it? Like
it
you
could
kind of
have
were like,
been.
Okay.
It could have been, but I think just I was really ready to go out and be an adult. And they always say that, like, you know, once you're an adult, you're like, oh God, please, I had it so good. Why was I in such a hurry?
Always no bills, sleep whenever you want, not stressing about really anything.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I always had that sense of like, I'm ready to go be an adult and do my own thing. And, you know, I wound up doing that at a much younger age than I probably should have been. But, you know, sometimes that's how life goes.
It's interesting though. So your parents, were they like go for it at 16, like go to New York, or did you have to fight against them and be like, I'm leaving to go to New York? Because you were by yourself, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I didn't really have to fight. My parents didn't really put up much of a fight because I think they saw how strong my personality was, and that maybe there was no sense of fighting against that. And they wanted, you know, a good life for me, and I'm sure they were worried that they wouldn't be able to provide for me and if I wasn't able to take this opportunity. But my mom did read a lot of books about modeling, and I don't know if you remember this modeling school called John Casablancas. It was it was like this, you send your kids there and they would take anybody, right? And it's like what do they call that? Where women would, you know, try and balance a book on their head. Like, what was that?
Like a debutante? Is that debutante? No.
Yeah,
like etiquette
Yeah, one of those schools. It's kind of like that, but then they, you know.
These don't exist anymore, do they? Like basically women learning how to be proper women.
Yeah, like cross your legs and like.
I think the closest thing is debutante. I think but I could be wrong. Please, anyone out there, let us know.
Yeah. So anyways, it's kind of, and and they teach you.
You went to that.
I did not go to that. So that really has very little to do with the story except for the fact that John Casablanca was a terrible womanizer. And he would take young girls on. He was not a good guy. It was kind of like a Jeffrey Epstein. But so there was like books about him, recorded about him. And my mom was like, I am not sending you to New York City by yourself. But, so she was like very hesitant. She didn't want it, but she also was like, what else is, she's very headstrong. Like this is her choice. So she
headstrong? No.
Yeah. We were talking, Emily and I were talking about this earlier. Like we have opinions and they read all over our face, whether we want them to or not, but.
So you went to New York. It's very true. I will say your face says it all. And sometimes it's very concerning because I'm like, what? What don't you like? There's something you don't like. Why aren't you telling me? So I appreciate it though, because you can't hide. You have to be honest.
I don't have a very good poker face.
I love that. I absolutely love that. So you went New York at 16, had a great time, did all the things. Did you live with friends?
I lived in a model's apartment.
Another model's apartment.
Kind of like I actually lived in Jersey City in these like really cool converted old warehouses, and it's right across the water from the main city where the agency was and work and everything.
What was the agency?
I can't. I can't even remember now. It wasn't like Elite or something like that. It was.
I don't even know why I asked. I don't know the names of modeling agencies.
Well, anyways, it doesn't exist anymore. It doesn't exist anymore. There was an agent there, and I remember being like, wow, she's such an adult. And they forced her to live with us. So there were 4 models in a room with bunk beds. And then she had her own room.
What?
And everyone smoked in the apartment. And that was the one thing I've never done. I made that, yeah.
I know how much you hate smoking.
I hate cigarette smoke. I'm Goldilocks. I'm like, that is just really foul. It's too much. I can't, it's too aggressive. I don't like, but I've never liked smoking. I've never liked smoke. I would do a lot of other crazy things, but smoking was never my thing. Anyways, they all smoked in the apartment and I just wanted to die. Yeah, I would leave the apartment. I was 16. Sometimes you don't go out. It's like kind of like Miami. I would leave at like 10 p.m. sometimes. She had no control. This woman was supposed to be watching over us, but it was a good time. Until it wasn't.
And when wasn't it?
About a year in, I think it just all caught up with me and I missed home and I had been through the winters and I was like, this is just not it.
You don't like the cold, do you?
I'm not a fan of cold, not a fan of gray. I was like, I need to and I just missed home. And I didn't have any people there and the models would come in and out. People would come in and out. I do remember, I don't want to talk about this too much, but I do remember one of the girls I'd never seen she had this crazy eating disorder. I was always really poor. And I think she came from like a wealthy family too. She would come in and she'd have like Lucky Charms and like all these like brand name cereals. And I'm still kind of a kid and I was like, oh my God, can I have some of that? And like Ben and Jerry's. And then but then it dawned on me, I was like, oh, she's in the bathroom throwing that up. And that was my first real, I was like, oh, this is the stuff my mom read about in that book, right? Modeling.
The extremes that models will go to. Did you like modeling? Did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, I loved it. I really loved it. I have one look. I'm like Zoolander. And I remember I was 16.
Can I see your one look?
It's smile.
You look into this camera and just make your one look. So no teeth, smile. Perfect. And your dimples. It's perfect.
Yeah. And so I'd get on these shoots. And I was 16, and I did more commercial modeling because of my size and everything. And that worked. But then I'd get on some of these
shoots. You do more commercial modeling because of your size. What do you mean by that?
Like height.
Okay.
Right.
How tall are you?
I'm technically 5'5". I lied then and said I was 5'6" because Kate Moss at the time was a huge model and she was only 5'6". She also
only 5'6".
Yeah.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah, she's a tiny, but so just angelic and perfect, and she can do all the looks.
Yes.
She's definitely not a Zoolander.
But you lived that life. The model life in New York with your one look in more commercial type stuff.
Oh, what I was going to say is the aftermath of the shots. They were like, she looks too young. They like put this push-up bra and they like teased my hair up. I might still have the photo.
Oh my gosh, if you have it, you have to show it to me.
I will try to find it. And, I'm beautiful. I look my body. And, of course, I thought I was like kind of not fat, but, of course I had my, I'm not skinny enough. But anyways, I remember the photographer was like, be sexy, be sexy. And I kept trying to be like
like a forced sexy face.
Literally Zoolander. Like I thought I had to like squint my eyes to be
sexy. Did you give Zoolander to the camera?
Yes.
Or to each other knows.
Anyways, it was terrible. So, yes, I started getting sad.
Yes.
And I wasn't booking that much, and I was partying a lot, and it was time for me to go home.
Yeah. So you went back to Florida.
So I went back to Florida.
And so this is around 17.
Started community college, started like on the track I thought I should be on. Bopped around to like 5 different community colleges.
So wait, take a second. If you went to New York when you were 16, did you graduate from high school?
Did not. I quit high school.
Okay, so you quit high school to go to New York. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, it just dawned on me. I was like, wait a second. So then came back and then started community college. Did you know what you were going to study at community college, or were you kind of just doing your like general education classes?
I thought in my head, it was going to be something in film.
Okay. So you still had that. You still love cameras, photography, film, movies, old Hollywood, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how long did community college last?
Oh, a few years,
So you did a few years.
I did, but I had to work. I didn't want to live in the tiny little town so I was born in St. Petersburg, and then my family moved us to a very, very small town in the middle, smack in the middle in Florida, which is where all of my trauma started, to be honest. It was not inspirational whatsoever. Everyone just seemed so sad there, and, very low income family. And it's just, I'm sure there were some happy people there, but that was not the experience that I had. I needed to be in a bigger city, which was like mostly Orlando and Miami were the 2 places.
When you say that town was like the town where you feel like your trauma was all based, like was there anything specific, or was it just the town as a whole?
Well, that's kind of where my family dynamic really started to fall apart. My father was always an alcoholic, and he did stop drinking for a while there and held it together, but it was like he didn't get the help that he needed. So they call it like a dry drunk. My mom had a lot of mental health issues, and she was depressed, in between like agoraphobic, depression, all of those things through most of those years. So we all kind of did our own thing. Yeah. My dad kind of avoided the house a lot. My mom hung out in her room a lot. It wasn't talked about, but there was lots of love, but it wasn't spoken about. You know what I mean?
So you felt loved?
I always knew I was loved. Yeah. I don't know if I'd say I felt loved.
But you knew it was there.
I knew I was loved. I knew I was safe. I don't think what I thought I needed. I don't think I was getting that.
Thank you for touching more on that.
Yeah.
I know it's harder to talk about some of those things, especially when a podcast is a time to really be able to like delve into it a little bit more. But it's interesting to me because I don't think we've ever talked about that before. But I knew about your father, but I didn't know that kind of the shift. Now, did that shift to the small town happen before you went to New York? Or was that after, when you got back from New York, that they had made the move to that smaller town?
No, we moved when I was in 2nd grade. Okay. So a lot of it all started around then.
So basically 2nd grade up until you left at 16. And then when you came back, but you were missing home and then came back and then did community school for a few years.
Yeah.
And were your parents happy to have you back?
Oh, I'm sure they were. Again, we all had a very separate life in a lot of ways. I think that is what the saddest thing is like my family is, even the family I have left now, everyone is so separate. And I try as an adult to do my best to really like be the one to be like, cool, let's connect. And I hope I'm doing an okay job at that, but it's hard when they're all still in Florida. Yeah. But yeah, once the kids weren't little kids anymore, it was like everyone had their own little separate family. So our family, especially because we lived the furthest, really felt isolated. So it was like my dad was isolating, my mom was isolating, I was an only child. I was isolating from them. It's weird. It's weird how that all happens. And then the town having like, you know, if I tell you the kind of jobs I had when I came back, just
what were they? You have to tell me, please.
Just to make, so I worked at a car wash with like 3 of my best guy friends, and they were, oh God, they were hot messes.
I thought you were going to say hot.
Well, I definitely had a crush on one of them.
But they were hot messes.
But oh God, were they hot messes. And one of them had gotten back. He thought he was going to go into the military. And then he came back after boot camp. And that really messed him up. He was like never, I don't know how he is now, but he had a lot of anger issues. I'm sure it was there partially before. Yeah. But him coming back from that, it was... You could see the turn, like when he would drink. They were only like 8. They were a little older than me, 18, 19 at that time. I did that for a few months. Then I had a girlfriend who convinced me that we were going to make $10 an hour, because that was like, whoa, in this town, as Sears, termite, and pest inspectors.
Sears.
Yeah, so
they had a termite inspection.
Is Sears still a thing? I don't know.
I think they went bankrupt.
Yeah. So,
I think so.
Anyways, there was this department store called Sears, and they had their own pest control. And my girlfriend was like, this is what we're going to do. I have a friend. They're going to give you your own. So they taught me how to drive stick. Yeah. Which was really cool. But I was 18, and I would have to crawl under people's like
houses.
Yeah.
Underneath their houses.
Underneath their houses, or like mobile homes even.
You?
Yeah.
Went under people's houses. Yeah. With the spiders and the dirt and the bugs.
Oh, dead cats, like all kinds of shit under there.
What, Danielle?
And
now, I mean, I just can't imagine you doing this.
And in the
attic.
It's more like a crawl, like, yeah, I guess it's an attic, but like walking on beams, like it's pretty wild.
So you did it.
I did it. I did it.
Did you make $10 an hour?
And I made $10 an hour.
Which I'm assuming was above minimum wage at the time.
Yes.
Because you're saying it like it was a good thing.
Yes.
So I'm assuming, because now it's, 15 in California. But anyways, keep going. So you did that job. What else did you do?
I got a job. Same friend convinced me that we were going to get a job at a nursery. And I think it was, again, $10 an hour. We're like, wow, okay, we're so rich. We're going to, And I also came from like modeling and whatever, but desperate.
This is when you were in community college. This is when you came back. You were doing these
Well,
jobs.
This is when I was still at home. When in between.
Okay.
And she was like, I got this job at a nursery. And I'm like, a nursery sounds amazing. Yeah. I get there. And the guy is like, get in the truck. It's not a nursery job at all.
In the truck.
Yeah, he was safe. Although I think about it now, the things, not a good...
We're going to make $10 an hour.
Get in the truck. Oh, God.
The fact that we even... Yes, continue.
So he takes us to... I think it's called Black Diamond. It's like this very prestigious, like a golf community. It's nothing...
I was not expecting that with Black Diamond. I was expecting, like, I don't know.
Like a strip club?
Yes.
Get in the truck. We're going to Black Diamond.
Yeah. I was like, what's the sapphire? No, spearmint rhino.
Yes.
Okay, keep going.
Yes.
This is also a senior golf community.
Yes.
Okay.
Or not even a senior, but of like a prestigious like golf community. Okay. I think it was called Black Diamond. It's, fancy. You got to have money to go there, whatever. So basically what we would do, we would pick up the sod or whatever, trees or whatever from the nursery. Mm-hmm. We'd pack it in the truck. And then I'd be laying sod for 8 hours a day.
What is his friend's name?
Michelle. Michelle.
But honestly, you have some great stories.
And
you made money. You made over minimum wage.
Yeah, great. I mean, I spent it like that. Who knows? But yes.
That doesn't surprise me either. We'll talk about that as well.
I built character.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I have good stories, like you said.
But I do believe stuff like that really does build character. Did you do any other odd end jobs?
Call center.
Okay.
I went from
what kind of call center? Like customer service? Like
for Sears Termite and Pest.
Oh, that was okay. So
that was my upgrade.
Once you'd crawled under enough houses,
I was like, I'm getting into the call center. I'm moving to Orlando. It's big time. Orlando, Florida. I'm going to work at a call center.
But also too, that was a big city to you. Like going from like, what was the population of the town you were in? Probably. I mean, just roughly. I know you probably don't know the exact.
15,000 people or something.
Okay. And then Orlando's a huge city.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're like, oh my God, there's so much more possibility.
So the town I grew up in, basically to this day, if you want to get a drink, there's like one bar called Coach's. Shout out to Coach's. And Applebee's.
Oh, Applebee's serves alcohol?
2 for 1. Hello.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
My town didn't have an Applebee's.
And a Walmart. The Walmart's like where you're like, ooh, let's go shopping.
I love this. I want to kind of go to your hometown, to be honest.
I'd love to take you around.
I would love that. What was the moment that all of a sudden you were like, I'm moving to LA?
So I think somewhere, I'd moved to Miami, come back. I lived in Orlando again. Orlando, I think, was the last place I was living. But I just knew this was not it. Something was going to shift. I didn't know how or when. And my grandmother died. My grandma kind of had they were spending a lot of it because they're old, but she had some like money. I guess it wasn't a secret, but she left everyone some money. She left me $10K, which, growing up poor, like I was like, holy Moses. Yeah. One of my girlfriends happened to be visiting a friend in LA, and she was like, we should go to LA. And I was like, great. I got this money is burning a hole in my pocket. Let's go. I mean, I probably spent that in about 4 seconds. But it got me to Los Angeles, Southern California, actually. Andrea had been hooking up with this guy in Costa Mesa.
Okay.
And
is Andrea from Florida?
She's from Florida.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did her and the guy never mind. It's a whole different.
I know.
I was like, how did that?
There are so many.
No dating apps existed back then.
No,
so how did that happen?
IRL. But when you're young, you just meet people you're attracted to. It's easy.
But if he's in Costa Mesa and she was in Orlando. Wait, were you visiting LA?
They met. He was here in Orlando on a work thing.
Got it. There we go.
They met. They hooked up. Then they stayed in contact. Then she was going out to LA to see another friend, and she was like, "I'm going to see this guy." Yeah. I was like, does he have a friend? He had a friend.
Oh my God. They always have a friend.
I mean, it doesn't work for me anymore. I don't know. Where are all your friends, people? Where are all your friends? But yeah, David Pena. So, what was his name? David Pena. Shout out to David Pena. So,
I love all the shout outs.
We had a great time. Yeah. Both of them were so lovely. Didn't work out for my friend and the other guy, but David and I were like, I stayed an extra day or two.
What?
Because we had a nice connection. And I remember when I left, he took me to get a burrito and he was going to bring me to the airport. And he's like, I don't want you to leave. And I was like, I don't want to leave either. Yeah, we stayed in contact. And then a few months later, we were packing up my car and moving. Yeah.
Because of David.
Because of David. Mm-hmm.
So you and David dated.
So David and I dated, and I put him through hell and back, but bless him. That was a lot of trauma that was coming up through that move. And also it's not his fault. We moved to Costa Mesa, and I was like, this is not it. I did not move all the way across the country to live in Costa Mesa. This is like Orange County, which is like, if you know, it's so different from Los Angeles.
It's Orange County.
Yeah. No offense. It's beautiful. It's clean.
It's not for you.
It's just
it's not your vibe.
It's not my vibe, and I knew that in my heart.
So you were in Costa Mesa with David. How long did that go on for?
We dated about a year or something. We broke up a lot, and I probably put him through hell. But yeah, I eventually just started moving north and north and north. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I decided that's what I did with the rest of that money. I heard about a makeup school.
Yes. So this is where it happened.
So
taking it back to a little bit, when you went to community school, you were taking film classes?
I was literally just taking like
Easy classes.
Well, just like prerequisites.
Got it. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just, I basically am just trying to catch up to what I missed in high school.
Yeah.
A lot of it. And then I did take some, I was really interested in film. I did some acting, and then I did some, like, what would you call that? Like,
movement classes?
no, like where we're building sets
like production design.
Yeah, production design classes. And, I always, that was one of my favorite when I still was in high school and middle school. Shop was one of my favorites. So, I got to use power tools and like do fun stuff like that in those classes in college. But anyway, so yeah, I knew I wanted to do something in the industry. That was something else I did back in Florida. I took acting classes because my modeling agency were like, you're not growing anymore, so maybe you should go into acting.
Growing anymore in what, height?
Yeah. You're too short, essentially.
You're gonna eat spinach and grow a couple inches.
No. So yeah, they really tried to push me, but I just was not my vibe. It was not my thing. Like, I'd be in the acting classes and the people would be like, oh, they probably weren't like that. But I just thought, they really want this. I don't really want this.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be something that I'm going to fight hard enough for. So it just wasn't for me. Okay. But anyway, still was like, what is it going to be? I'm moving to LA. Mm-hmm. So one of my last modeling jobs I did when I first got to Southern California, I remember hating my makeup. Like, the woman didn't even curl my eyelashes, which I was like, what? But I remember the other model, I was like, God, I could have done a better job. And she was like, you should be a makeup artist. I was like, I should be a makeup artist. And then she told me that her friend was going to school to be a makeup artist. And again, this is in early 2000s. I was very naive to a lot of things. 23.
Amazing.
Yeah, 23, 24. And I was like, they have schools for that? So yeah, that's what I was saying. That was where, now I remember, that's where the rest of my money went that my grandma gave me. I enrolled in this school. They still have it. It's in Burbank. It's called MUD. And I would take a train from Costa Mesa to Burbank. I think it was every day. I can't really remember it now, but for a few months. And I just did the beauty course because that's all I could afford. They had like special effects and all that, but I was like, let me just do this. And yeah, that decision, it was like I will say it was kind of the first thing in my life that I felt, so connected to, that I thought, I can fight for this. Yeah. So yeah, I did that.
So you felt passionate about it, essentially. Mm-hmm. So you were like, no, I really actually enjoy this, and I think
this is going to be my thing. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then it was.
And then it was my thing for like 20 years. Yeah.
So you and David eventually, as we know, broke up. You moved closer into LA.
Did, yeah.
And you started doing makeup. What was the first? Do you remember your first job as a makeup artist?
Well, my first job was working at MAC Cosmetics.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did you like that?
I did like it when they I don't know if they still do it this way, but they would hire, like, you could just pick up shifts in different stores. And that I really liked, because working retail, that was another job I did. I forgot. I always hated working retail.
Why is that?
It sucks. Like, your managers are always like, I don't know. It's so dumb. And I'm not a like, if you don't want it, I'm fine with it.
You're not a salesperson.
Yeah.
You're not going to convince somebody to buy that piece of clothing. I mean, I know you. You're opinionated, and it shows on your face. So I could 100% second that you, as a salesperson, the second someone tries it on, you would actually probably deter them from doing it. You'd be like, no, this is not your cut. This store is not working for you. Go down the street to the other one. Like, but you also know style. And so you're being honest, but it's also...
Yeah, but it's also not that life or death. Like, if the person doesn't want it, and I think, obviously that didn't make me employee of the month, because they're like, want you to sell stuff. So when I could just pop in and like do makeovers and be like, help people out a little bit, I really loved that. But I did wind up getting hired at a shop, and I didn't last very long because I was like, no. And the other thing about that, you know how I wear my makeup. It's pretty fresh and simple. This is probably the heaviest I will ever really go to be on camera, but they wanted you to wear like 20 products on your face so you could tell. And I was like, and
eyebrows, bronzers, contour, cheeks, chin,
and back
lips,
then at 23 especially, I was like, I didn't need it.
Yeah.
And I never liked wearing like base, and so they always gave me a hard time about me only having 4 products on my face, and I was just like, I
only need 4 products.
Yeah, I give up. I'm like, less is more. Trust me.
So you ended Mac. Did you quit? I'm assuming.
I quit.
So you quit, and then
I've quit. I've never been fired from a job that I also worked at a grocery store.
Did you bag groceries or stock shelves?
I bagged. I was bagged until I cashiered. I was bagged at 14. Yeah. That was when I started working. As soon as I could legally, I started working. And that's never stopped, which is like, sometimes I'm like, why do I want to work so bad? Like, what's that all?
That's all you know, right?
That's all I know.
Doing it for so long.
Wow. You can take a break. No.
So wait, so when you left Mac, did you know you were getting into doing celebrity makeup or personal makeup, people, or did you not?
I certainly wanted to, yeah.
Okay, but you didn't have a job lined up per se.
No, I was just like winging it.
Okay.
Oh, God.
Oh my gosh.
I have a story.
I love how it like keeps unraveling. Okay, tell me.
Okay. So speaking of like so I would answer jobs on Craigslist.
Oh my God, Craigslist. Does Craigslist still exist?
It does still exist. It's probably shady AF if you answer any like job ads or like anything like that. But you could still get furniture and stuff. I don't know. It still exists. People still use it. But anyways, that was a big way to find work for a lot of people. It was like the first, I don't know, what would that be now? Like LinkedIn or whatever, My old roommate had moved out because, you always have roommates when you're young. Yeah. And I was looking for a new roommate, and this girl comes in, perfectly lovely. But when she was like, yeah, I'm a model, I was like, what's she up to? I just was like, okay, what kind of model, And so she was like, and you know what? I have a client that's looking for a makeup artist, and I think she pays $500 for and I was like, skirt! Can I get that number? Where do I sign up? So anyways, she put me in contact. Again, this Cindy and I are actually still friends. Cindy, shout out to Cindy, another shout out.
I love the shout outs. I love the shout outs so much.
So I hit her up, and she said, okay, it's a bit unusual, but my partner and I have made this website, and essentially we make, it's kind of porn. It's porn, or it's erotica.
Soft core porn.
It's erotica, and it's based on like Japanese anime erotica. Okay. So we make all these different prosthetic boobies and breasts and all different shapes and sizes, and they're very cartoony, and we shoot them on models. So this girl had been she'd been doing some softcore stuff, I guess. I show up to my first job, and I was like, I need $500. I can't, whatever. I'll do it. Sign me up, lady. I'll be right there. Yeah. So funny enough, I drove back to Costa Mesa. I don't know what's up with Costa Mesa, but that's where their first place was. And we did the first shoot. Everyone was lovely. It was rather disgusting. I'm not a prude, but I'm definitely, I'm very like, I can be. So I'm not like this free sex, I've never been like that in private. Yes. Yeah. It was a little weird for me, but I thought, you know what? I'm open-minded. Mm-hmm. But that's how it started, and it progressively, this job, and again, Cindy, so lovely. She would cook, like she was amazing. They started making so much money off this. They bought this huge house. They were bringing in different models at a time, and they were starting to do like map out sex scenes. But what it was is when the girls, they would, I know, they would, do their thing with their boobies, and that was like basically.
I don't know what this thing is they're doing with their boobies. They're
touching themselves to get to climax.
Got it. So it's them with themselves.
It's them with themselves, but they're not real boobies. They're like these massive.
But they look as real as they can, because I know prosthetics can look real.
Yes.
So like they're as real as possible, but they're big and they're abnormally large.
And they're all different body shapes to fit the different girls. Like it was pretty cool, very creative.
But it was just them playing with their big fake boobies.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So, but then...
And you did their makeup.
And I did their makeup.
Did you have to do body makeup as well?
If there was something terrible, but...
Not really.
Okay. But the thing that would happen is she would be cooking this huge pot of like flour water.
Why?
And it would smell so bad. And they would take like a squirt gun and they would run it through the boobie, through this cord. And so when the girl finally
climaxed,
it would like super gun, like amounts of this fluid would just shoot out everywhere. And sometimes
through their boobs?
Through her fake boobies.
Through the nipple?
Yeah.
Like milk?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Continue, please. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, wait, I'm wrong. That was...
How are you wrong?
I'm wrong because the first liquid was more like milk. You're right. So, but...
Oh, there was a different...
But then it got progressively weirder. So they decided they were going to give them penises.
So they had boobs and penises?
I don't remember if they had them together or if some girls had a fake penis. Oh my God, this conversation. Yes. So eventually it got to the point, and that's where I kind of dipped out after that.
Does this stuff still exist?
I think she shut that down. But they did really well for a while. I think what happened is her and her guy split. Mm-hmm. So that's when the company stopped. But they did really, really well for themselves. It was like one of the first internet like anime. Yeah. But yeah, so when it got to the pee-pee stuff, that liquid, because they'd shoot it on each other and then they'd come back in my room and have to get cleaned up.
But it was just this like flour.
It was, but it was disgusting. And it was like, it was really hard to separate, the idea of it. And it'd get in their hair and I'd have to try and restyle their hair. And then I was like, I don't think this $500 is worth it anymore.
What was worse, getting the flour water that looked like semen out of their hair or crawling under the house with the dead animals?
Oh, definitely the dead animals.
Okay, I just wanted to, on like a scale of what we've done so far, I still needed to know where we were at. Totally. So that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so this job came to a conclusion.
That job came, but that was like one of my first makeup jobs.
I know a lot of camera operators that started doing films like that and stuff.
Well, it's low budget, right? And you gotta get some experience somehow.
And they pay.
And you got to get paid.
But they pay, like from what I understand, because it is such a huge industry. I think it's one of the top grossing industries in the world. It pays very well.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't.
But you didn't get into that industry.
No, I wasn't looking to find out how much I could get paid and how far I could take it. And that I was like, okay, I've had my fair share of that.
Yeah.
So
what was next?
Gosh, I think headshots.
Okay, so makeup for people, actors and stuff doing headshots. Okay.
Aspiring actors. Eventually, somehow talked an agent into representing me, and then...
Do you remember where you met that agent?
I think I might have just been cold calling.
Okay. So you just how did you find those numbers? Did you just know people that gave you information, or was there back then some sort of website?
I think Google and things like that,
Okay. Yeah. So that was it was easier to access that information.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it wasn't like... At this point, we actually had the internet. Not that old, but
No, I know. Also, it's shifted even in my mind. The internet, the web sphere has shifted so much that what you were able to access then and what you're able to access now are completely different. So I just didn't know if that's okay. Okay, so you basically were cold calling, found an agent, convinced them to represent you, and is that just where it kind of was able to kick off from there?
Yeah, I started doing more commercial advertising. I don't know how I think, Aaron Paul was actually probably the biggest help and supporter as far as me breaking into the celebrity world.
Really?
Oh yeah. He just trusted me early on, and he had no reason to be that loyal to me, but he was. Yeah. He really opened up a lot of doors for me. So I'll always, and also he's just one of the kindest, most wonderful human beings you'll ever meet in your entire life. So
shout out to Aaron Paul as well.
So shout out to Aaron Paul. Always, baby. Always.
I think I remember that. So when we first met, how long had it been since you started working with Aaron Paul?
I can't remember, but I think Breaking Bad is like 20 years old or something crazy. I don't know. We'd have to look it up. It's like weirdly like so old. They're celebrating like it's been a while.
And that's when you started with Aaron is when?
Yeah, in the beginning of Breaking Bad. And then it just really took off. So yeah, he opened up a lot of doors for me in that way, which was very kind. Yeah.
And so you did grooming for men, makeup on women, for photo shoots, actors, celebrities, editorial, which was like magazines and stuff. And you really loved that? That was something that you finally found your niche? I'm like, well, it's a question. I'm saying like that was like finally your thing that you're like, I'm so in love with this?
I loved it. I would say, the biggest regret, we talked about a little bit about regrets, is again, that same regret of like just not loving myself and not understanding my value and my worth so much that I was such a perfectionist. So it was so hard for me to just lean into new opportunities. So I would always, I'd always get so far, and then I'd be like, nope, that's as far as you could go. That's it.
You just believe that.
I just believe that. And then I would like self-sabotage myself in so many ways. So as much as I loved doing makeup, I never believed that I was good enough to deserve. It's like I wanted these jobs. I wanted this consistency. I wanted all these things, but I didn't believe that I deserved it. Yeah. So it really stopped me. I'd go a little farther, and then I'd be like, nope, pull yourself back. I'd get a little bit, and then I'd be like, nope, pull yourself back. So, as much as I loved it, I never felt like I was good enough at it, which was just a good enough overall kind of a thing.
What do you think that was?
Because of the programming I had as a child,
But it's interesting because as a child you were so independent and so stubborn-headed, or you know what you wanted. You went to New York at 16. You lived this independent life that you brought yourself all the way from Florida.
Well, I think California. That's my authentic self, all of that, right? And then the programming would start to snap in. It's like, hitting my upper limit, like my upper limit would start to kick in. And
what do you mean by that?
So upper limit is kind of like...
Are we getting into the coaching stuff?
I guess a little. Yeah. So it's just like hitting your ceiling, right? Like it's like... You never believed you were good enough to deserve that. So when you hit it, you are going to do everything to self-sabotage it.
Really?
And bring yourself back to square one. So everything is about, what you get in your life. It's all a mirror of what you believe you deserve. So, yeah.
I'm silent because I'm in shock. That makes so much sense and resonates a lot in a lot of ways. So I hear that. So do you feel that that's just a common thing? Is that something you've learned, jumping ahead a little bit, during your life coaching journey?
Oh, yeah.
Which is now with stress and anxiety. But did you learn that was the thing, is like basically we can only go as far as we believe in ourselves to go. And then if we reach that, we self-sabotage.
You'll always self-sabotage and bring yourself back down if you don't believe that you truly deserve it.
So how do you fix that? How do you change? How do you stop this thing that's so ingrained in you to only believe that you're capable or deserving of a certain limit?
Well, first you have to decide. You have to decide that you're worth it and that you're going to do everything in your power, right?
Yeah.
And then you get a game plan going. So
you make it sound so easy.
No, it's not. But awareness is key, right? Awareness is the first step to fixing a problem, because if you don't know that you have a problem, how can you fix it? So really just going inward, doing the inner work, that's how you fix it.
But that's what's interesting too, is I feel like now that, we're older women, some of those things I would never have been able to catch when I was younger, right? I would never have been able to say like, oh, I'm limiting myself in this moment. I'm just looking around going like, why are all these obstacles happening? Why is this happening to me? And why is that happening to me? And I can absolutely go back in time. I can look at other people clearly and see like, I know exactly the things I was doing to somewhat kind of self-sabotage, even though I knew it was better to do this or this. But I mean, but how, when you're in those moments, it's just impossible to think how you actually in those moments can be so present to know I'm sabotaging myself. Get out of this cycle.
Well, most people are not ever living their life present. That's a problem. We, like you said, like I'm going to go ahead and deflect. I'm going to deflect, blame. All these things are happening to me, not because of me. Right? And it's just a lack of awareness. It's like people have never been taught to go inside, to get quiet, to question themselves, right? We just are taught this is what you do. This is how you go to school, you get married, you have kids, you work, it's like, those are the things. No one ever said, take care of yourself, love yourself. No one taught us how to have compassion for ourselves. No one told us how to have any type of vulnerability. I mean, unless your parents do this for you, but if they don't, there's no way. Like, so going back to my childhood, so my mom was depressed and my dad would kind of ignore it. We'd all kind of ignore it, right? And it was all like, I learned that having needs or having emotions is weak. So anytime I felt like I had needs or I had emotions, I would flip a switch and I'd be like, I'm going to be a bitch and I'm just going to push everyone away so then they don't need to see what's really happening inside there, because I damn sure wasn't going to be weak.
Yeah. And do you think that a lot of people struggle with that?
I think a lot of people struggle with that. And some people, they do it differently. Like I definitely had like a pricklier side. And so and that's not me being my authentic self, right? Like the stress, the anxiety, the low self-esteem. If I'm being prickly, if I'm not hungry, if I'm being prickly, it's because I'm being triggered.
Oh, wow.
My little inner child is being triggered. And obviously I've done a lot of inner work to work on that. But, people who are closest to us will get it still, even no matter how much work you've done.
It's all resonating with me and it means so much. It's just, how do we change that cycle? My brain is always kind of like wanting to go like, how do we fix it? Because I think that is a lot of people grow up in households where vulnerability is considered a weakness and emotions aren't really shown freely. And if emotions are shown, they're aggressive or angry or destructive in some way. And I don't know. And that's not everybody. Obviously, there's people out there that I do look at and I'm like, how are you so well-rounded? How did you guys do it? But it's just...
And I would consider you one of those people, by the way.
Which is crazy.
But, I don't know if we can cut this out if you want, but, you've had a lot of therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I have. We can talk
about that. Right? Yeah.
I start a podcast. I can't be off limits at this point. I'm an open book.
Yeah. So, I think that's how you do it.
Therapy is a big one, yeah.
I think support in general. Obviously, you have to do your own work. Most people, you have an hour with your therapist, right? It's like, imagine going to the gym for an hour a week and expecting to have a six-pack.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great way to look at it. Because it's only about once a week and you have to be able to do the work when you're not with them in between that time.
So you got to do the reps. You got to do the reps to, whatever it's going to be for you. And I have a standard meditation, affirmations, filling your head with any kind of like podcast, books, anything that's going to help you stay consistent.
Vision board.
I love a vision board.
You're the one that got me to do my... I mean, I didn't complete that vision board, but you got me.
I can't even find my little pieces from that night. I went to look the other day.
I still have mine. You're the one that was like, we're going to do a vision board. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. And we got magazines and we cut things out. And in the end,
we spent hours cutting things out.
Hours, like little tiny... Talk about self-sabotage. I did so many little things that like it would have taken me years to put together a vision board. But then I turned to Canva and now I have a vision board right on my cell phone.
Oh, that's lovely.
But thank you though for encouraging me to at least...
Still fun.
It's we had a blast. And
I love a physical vision board.
Same. So do I. Maybe eventually I'll get those little pieces out. I think though the problem is I pulled them out again and I was like, wait, why? What was the purpose of this? Like, why do I have a garden? I was like, oh, I want to grow vegetables.
Yeah.
But thank you for that. But it's so true. It's the reps. I love how you said it. It's the reps. If you kind of relate it to a gym and taking care of yourself, it's kind of doing the reps in between by yourself to really get there.
Yeah.
And when was the first time you went to therapy? How old were you when you went to therapy for the first time?
So, I started having panic attacks at 18 because I was very unhappy in living where I was living and that lifestyle and everything. My mom thought I was pregnant because I was just like, "Ah!" and she'd never seen me like that before. Okay. Was not pregnant. And we were like, oh, you're having panic attacks. So she had gone through this program. Mm-hmm. It was like an infomercial. She actually did really well off of it. That was the closest we had ever been to, like maybe like 1920. I was like 1920. It's called Lucinda Bassett. It was like infomercial chick. And it basically was group coaching for people with anxiety. So it was tapes.
Oh, wow.
And then I think
the cassette tapes.
Yeah, and then I think eventually they started making CDs. Yeah. So you would listen to these people talk about their anxiety. And she would coach them through it. And I swear to God, I finished all those CDs and I never had another panic attack. Yeah, so I had 20 more years of anxiety, but I never had another panic attack. Like it gave me the skills that I needed. So that's just like shout out to Lucinda Bassett. I tried to look that before I got into what I'm doing. Yeah. I tried to look that up for friends in the past so I could share. She doesn't do it anymore. Like she
can't find it.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. But
like cassette tapes at like a thrift shop somewhere in the world.
Yeah, a whole program. But anyways, I did go to therapy a little bit off and on over the years, but it just never connected with me. I needed something different. And I didn't know what that was until I found coaching. And that it completely transformed my life. Obviously, so much so that I was like, everybody needs to know about this type of work. And I'm going to do whatever I have to do to spread the word.
Which involved becoming your own coach. Yeah. Not your own coach, but you became a coach.
And my own coach sometimes too. Although I still get coached. I will never not have a coach.
So how did you get into that? What was the first thing that got you into, like, did you meet somebody that had a life coach or did someone just come up to you or did you see a flyer for it? Like,
I started getting into self-help. Like, I just started like really reading every self-help book because I was like, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to make a change. What it is, but I got to do something. Yeah. I'm sick of feeling like this. So I started reading every self-help book and I started really getting, and I think I manifested it. I had heard about life coaches, but it wasn't anything like, it was like kind of like seemed to woo-woo or something,
Is woo-woo like in line with crystals? Is that woo-woo?
Yeah.
Okay, just so I understand the parameter of what woo-woo is. Okay.
Yeah, or like scammy or something. It didn't feel very legit to me for a long time, and so I never really explored it. But I had a piece of property in Florida, and I sold it, and again, not growing up with money, I was like worried that I was just going to blow it all or what. And it wasn't a ton of money by any means, but I was like, I should probably get a financial advisor. I'm old enough. That's what I should do. So I started asking my friend and I'm telling him about all my money fears and all these scary thoughts I have about this, that, and that. And he says to me, my friend Chloe's been talking to this woman. Will you call her? And I was like, yeah, I'll call her. And he's like, yeah, you promise? And I was like, yeah, I'll call her. So I call her up. I start telling her about the property, how much money I made, all my scary money fears, all of these things. She's English. She finally stops me and she says, darling, you know I'm not a financial advisor, right? And I was like, no, what do you do? And she starts telling me essentially that she's a life coach. And it's kind of a nasty word, it sucks because...
What, life coach?
Yeah, I think because it's unregulated, so people have had some like bad experiences with it. There's like a couple of like what's his name, like Keith Raniere and stuff. You know what I mean? Like the Nexium thing and stuff.
I don't know what any of this is.
Oh well.
Well, I'll be researching that after.
Yeah, anyways.
So it doesn't have the best track record because it's not regulated. So can be good life coaches out there and bad life coaches.
Yes.
So when you first heard her say life coach, did you kind of cringe and you're like, oh no?
Well, she didn't say that. She was like, I'm going to help you. I don't know how I forget. But whatever she said, I was like, oh God, please help me with that. Please. Oh, and that was that. And it didn't happen overnight, but it happened pretty quickly where I was like, this is exactly, she just helped me really reframe my thoughts, the thoughts that I had around my worth, opened my eyes up to all of my limiting beliefs that were even like, a lot of them were subconscious. And I thought I was this, but actually I was very this or very fearful of this. So yeah, it just really transformed my life and how I felt about my life. And again, I did a lot of my own reps, but I wouldn't have been able to do that by myself. It's just, hands down, wouldn't have been able to do that on my own. The level of accountability, and also, I had a good one. I had a really good one.
Life coach.
Yeah. And she opened me up. She cracked me open.
Would this be around the same time too, though? You had always lived in one apartment and you moved.
Yeah, that's all around the same time. Yeah.
And you just were so much happier. Like, you love that place so much more. Because I went to the other place with you a couple times, but that place, you love it, and you're still there now, and it's beautiful and bright and grows passion fruits naturally, and you just seem so much I never looked at you as an unhappy person, but you seem so light.
That was my first big girl upgrade, because I believed that I deserved it and I'll figure it out. And it was twice as much as a
really?
like rent control place. Oh, at least. And again, I had a really good rate at that old spot off Commonwealth. Shout out to Commonwealth. Anyways, but yeah, I made a big jump and I was like, I'm ready for this. I can do this. Yeah. And then I had a life coach who kept me going again when I was like, I can't do this. She was like, no, you got this. And I'd be like, yeah, I got this. So
someone in the corner. And then you transitioned into your own, taking the classes, the lessons, the schooling to become your own life coach. And so now what is it exactly that you do? Because you said it's a specific element of it. So it's just stress and anxiety.
It's not just stress and anxiety, but because that's what I lived through, and I've had every single symptom of, what physical symptom of what stress and anxiety does to your body. And it was a problem that I suffered with for 2 decades of my life that I no longer have. So I figured this is probably something that I should be sharing with people on how I got over this.
So basically the cassettes that you saw, or heard, I should say, when you were that anxiety-ridden, having panic attacks.
She essentially was a coach, right? And had I known that was, because like I said, I tried to go into therapy and I'd never connect. If Lucinda Bassett had been my coach, my life would have been completely different. But again,
because you seem the most fulfilled as a life coach.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that that had such a profound impact on you, and now you are having such a profound impact on other people like Lucinda did. It's pretty beautiful.
I had to suffer to help the people that I'm helping and who I'm meant to help. I believe that. I believe that, that's my role, and I feel really fulfilled, and I feel like I have purpose, which I never felt like connected to a purpose before in my life. Like, obviously I liked being a makeup artist, and I still like being a makeup artist, and I'm still happy to do it while I'm living in Los Angeles with clients that I love. Yeah, of course. Of course. I think it's really fun, and I've always loved being creative, and that side of me will never die off. But life had something else in store for me. So it was like, you're gonna feel how bad it feels to feel bad, and then you're gonna feel really good, and then you're gonna teach people how to get there.
So where do you do teachings now? Is it via Zoom? How does it work? Is it Zoom?
It's all over Zoom. All over Zoom. Yeah.
And how can people, or where can people find? Do you have a website? Do you have an Instagram?
Yeah. So it's just my name, DaniellePearsons.com, and then same with my Instagram handle, and people can book an appointment through Instagram or through the website, and yeah. I'm easy to find. A Danielle with one L, though.
I have loved this story. I know we have to wrap it up, and also I want to...
Oh my God, we haven't even eaten yet.
So what I'm realizing, too, because you are one of the early guests of Sweet and Savory, is I really love the idea of conversations around food. Yes. I think I've had so many with friends, all of us know what that's like. Usually there's a glass of wine, too, but I figured I would leave that out of the podcast. And what I'm realizing, putting the food out at the beginning, kind of you never end up eating it because you end up getting in the conversation. Probably a little self-conscious, is I think in the future what I'm going to end up doing is bringing this in at the end so we can really have these kind of final conclusion conversations. So imagine that at this moment, someone brought in...
Our hot stud brings in a plate full of ribs.
A plate full of ribs with some mac and cheese that isn't cold and coleslaw. I'm still going to dig in if you'd like to try some ribs.
Yes. Can I say...
Yes.
Have you noticed...
What?
This meal...
is
sweet and savory.
Because of the corn. Yeah. I'm going to do a little rapid fire. I'll do the rapid fire while we eat. First, before I start this, I'm going to ask you, what do you think? Do you think you are sweet or savory?
I'm sweet.
Okay.
Do you mean personality, or the things that I like?
Personality. You as a person, would you present yourself as, would you say I am sweet or I am savory?
I don't know how to answer that.
Let me explain it this way, and that might help. My intro to the entire podcast, which will be finessed over time, is basically that what I love to learn about is people's lives. Where you got to where you are today, how you got to where you are today, who you are as a person, what's molded you, what's made you, and what regrets you have, what would you change, how would you do things differently, and what you look forward to in the future. Mm-hmm. And through all of that, life can be at times good and bad. And I look at that as sweet and savory.
Yeah.
And doesn't have to be like, some people are just, you're just savorier, spicier. That's just who you are as a person. And some of us are sweeter.
Okay, then I'm savory.
Okay. So does that help make the decision?
Yeah.
So I'm going to run the test. So you say you're savory. Okay. Now, ready?
Yep.
Morning person or night owl?
Morning.
Text first or wait to be texted?
Wait to be texted.
Romance or respect?
Oh, romance.
Planned or spontaneous?
Planned.
Comfort food or fine dining?
Comfort food.
Forgive fast or never forget?
Forget fast.
No. Forgive fast or never forget?
Oh, forgive fast.
Sorry. I was like, I think is that talk it out or walk it off?
Both. I don't know. I might have to walk it off.
Okay. Soft line or boss life? Soft life? I can't even read. The cornbread's getting to me. Soft life or boss life?
Soft life.
Beach vacation or city escape?
Beach.
Homemade meal or 5-star restaurant?
Homemade meal.
You cry in private or in public?
Private.
Lover girl or independent queen?
Independent queen.
Sweet revenge or silent success?
Silent success.
Slow burn or instant spark?
Instant spark.
Stay loyal or match energy?
Match energy. That one's hard.
Glass half full or half empty?
Half full.
Chase the dream or chase the bag?
Chase the dream.
Subtle flex or loud win?
Subtle flex.
Intuition or logic?
Intuition.
Be chosen or do the choosing?
Do the choosing.
Final round. Chocolate or chips?
Chocolate.
Wine or tequila?
Wine.
He plans the date or you plan it?
I plan it.
Apology or changed behavior?
I can apologize. Or am I asking? Is it for me what I want to do? Or
That's how you interpret it.
Apology. Well, no. Change behavior.
Change behavior. Soft launch or hard launch?
Soft launch.
Prada or Nike?
Ooh.
I knew you were going to step on this one.
Oh, Nike.
Journal your feelings or vent to friends?
Vent to friends.
Be adored or be respected?
Be adored.
Peace or passion?
Peace.
And obviously sweet or savory, but you said savory, so we already know that one. Okay, I'm going to tally up. Hold on, I'm going to count.
Okay. Those were hard.
I just lost count. You think I was drinking.
Oh, we're going to have a drink after this. Am I sweet? Yeah.
You are sweet. It's interesting because I will say in your first round, which really is about, I would say, how do I explain? Like overarching stuff, it came off as very sweet. And then when it came to your like how you interact with other people, like who you are as a person versus how you interact with other people, it's interesting that you as a person almost, when you break this down on my page, it's like you are very sweet. How you interact with other people is more savory. And when it evened out, you actually are more sweet than savory.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so much fun.
That was so much fun.
I had a blast doing this with you. I think the truth is every once in a while we're all a little sweet and all a little savory, but I think that's what makes life special.
I agree.
This has been an absolute joy. I can't wait to eat more of these ribs and cornbread with a drink after this. So
Danielle, what a pleasure. That was so much fun. Yeah.
Thank you for being one of my first and for what people didn't see, which was being very patient for hours before this podcast started. Wishing you all the best with your stress and anxiety coaching. Everyone go check out her pages, her websites. You are an amazing ray of light and I love you. Thank you so much for being on the podcast.
I love you so much too. You're welcome. Thank you for having me.